Russia threatens to aggression NATO as Poland prepares to host NATO nuclear weapons. Poland's president says the NATO member would be ready to host the nuclear weapons of the military alliance's other members in response to Russia's moving its nuclear weapons to neighboring Belarus. President Andrzej Duda made the comments in an interview published Monday in the Fact tabloid. Russia has recently relocated its nuclear weapons to Belarus, Duda said in a reference to Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko's announcement in December. If there were a decision by our allies to deploy nuclear weapons within the nuclear sharing also on our territory in order to strengthen the security of NATO's eastern flank, we are ready, Duda said. He said Poland is aware of its obligations within the 32-member alliance that includes the United States. Prime Minister Donald Tusk, who shares Duda's views on national security, later told journalists that Poland's security and military potential are his priorities, but he needs to discuss this suggestion with Duda urgently. I would also like any potential initiatives to be, first of all, very well prepared by the people responsible for them, and I would like all of us to be absolutely positive that we want, Tusk said in a rather reserved response. This idea is absolutely massive, I would say, and very serious. And I would need to know all the circumstances that have led the president to make this declaration, he said. Duda has previously spoken of Poland's openness to nuclear sharing within NATO before Tusk's government came to power in December. In Moscow, a Kremlin spokesperson said any deployment of U.S. nuclear weapons in Poland would be met with steps necessary for Russia's security. The military will, of course, analyze the situation if such plans are implemented, and in any case, we'll do everything necessary. We'll take all the necessary retaliatory steps to guarantee our safety, Dmitry Peskov said during a daily news conference. 3 NATO members are nuclear powers: the US, the United Kingdom, and France. Within the sharing program, the US has nuclear facilities based in some allied countries, Belgium, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Turkey, to deploy and store the weapons. Washington retains absolute control and custody over the weapons it deploys. 7 members of the alliance have dual-capability aircraft that can carry conventional bombs or nuclear warheads and are available for use should such a strike be needed. Poland is a staunch supporter of neighboring Ukraine as it fends off Russia's full-scale invasion, now in its 3rd year. Meanwhile, Russia says NATO's controversial war games that are currently taking place with the use of hybrid and conventional weapons near the country's borders show the Western alliance is seriously preparing for a conflict with Moscow. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said on Saturday that NATO's largest exercise since the Cold War, Steadfast Defender, is taking place near Russia's borders. She said the coalition's actions against Russia are being practiced using all the instruments, including hybrid and conventional weapons. We have to admit that NATO is seriously preparing for a potential conflict with us, she added. NATO kicked off the drills with the participation of around 90,000 troops in January to show that NATO can conduct and sustain complex multi-domain operations over several months, across thousands of kilometers. According to the alliance, the war games will continue until the end of May. NATO has formerly described the military exercises as a simulated emerging conflict scenario with a near-peer adversary. The 31-nation organization has long been considering Russia one of its biggest adversaries. Moscow has repeatedly warned the US-led alliance against eastward expansion. In the months before President Vladimir Putin of Russia ordered the special military operation in Ukraine in February 2022, NATO had been beefing up security on its eastern flank with Russia and Ukraine. NATO is not directly involved in the war with Russia, but it has been supplying Kyiv with weapons and ammunition as well as military training. Russia warned last month that its forces would intensify attacks on Ukrainian storage bases housing Western-supplied weapons. In a related development, the Defense Ministry said on Saturday that Russian air defense forces have shot down 4 U.S.-made ATACMS long-range missiles that have recently arrived in Ukraine. The United States confirmed in April it had sent these missiles to Ukraine. Ukraine used U.S. ATACMS missiles against Russia for the first time in October. The Polish FM also thanked President Biden and the U.S. Congress for approving military aid to Ukraine. The minister emphasized Ukraine's urgent need for anti-aircraft missiles to safeguard its industries, power plants, and infrastructure.
Don't load it all at the dock has to. Right, let's go.